I'm looking at the Morrigan, and you know, maybe that's quite a private place. We can try and speak privately.
What do you wish of me?
Personal.
We are in camp, so 'tis as good a time as any.
Should I really do this? I think I should not risk.
What do you wish of me?
Ask you
If you
something?
must.
I wanna know a little bit more about you, like how did you become a shape
I was
changer?
not born such. 'Tis a skill of Flemets, taught over many years in the wilds. The chastened have tales of we witches, saying that we assume the forms of creatures to watch them from hiding. When a child is alone and separate from his tribe, that is when we strike, dragging the young boy kicking and screaming to our lair to be devoured. A most amusing legend.
I see. Kicking and screaming to you. But it's just a legend, right?
So I assume. My mother has walked the wilds far longer than I. Who am I to suggest what things she has done and not done in her past? Why do you ask? Is there something specific you wish to know?
You know, I never heard of that kind of magic.
No? 'Tis not unheard of in the remote corners of the world. There are traditions of magic outside of the Circle of Magi, despite what those mages would have you believe. Some of these traditions are old, indeed, passed down as carefully guarded lore from one generation to the next. The zealots of the Chantry would uproot all such practitioners if they could, but as luck have it, some still exist. My mother is such a one.
You mean apostates?
Not all apostates use the forbidden blood arts. Maleficarum do, but to condemn all who do not fall under the Circle's thrall for the sake of what might be is a dangerous path to walk. There are those who look on the word apostate as meaning freedom.
But do you specifically spend a lot of time being an animal?
There were nights when the wilds called to me, 'tis true. You look upon the world around you and you think you know it well. I have smelled it as a wolf, listened as a cat, prowled shadows that you never dreamed existed. But my life is as a human. I am under no illusions to the contrary.
So you can change into other forms.
The form of an animal is different from my own. One may study the creature, learn to move as it does, think as it does. In time, this allows one to become as it is. I gain nothing by studying another human. I already am the same as they are. I learn nothing. So the answer is no, my human form is the only one I possess.
But in terms of studying such, can anyone become a shape changer?
Anyone with sufficient will. But the act of transformation is a magical one. 'Tis a spell and thus requires a mage's talents. Indeed, you could learn the spells required if I cared to teach you.
Thank you.
Indeed. Have you an opinion on my abilities, then? Am I an unnatural abomination to be put to the torch?
You know, your abilities are quite useful, and this is not only in order to please you, but your abilities indeed are quite useful.
A most practical opinion. Far more so than any man I have spoken to. But enough of such talk, let us proceed lest the dust gather on us.
Yeah. Well, despite the fact that she's the bitch, but once we're talking in such nice atmosphere alone, and you know, that's where the people tend to open their other side, like, you know, the side of the diamond they are never showing to the others. Let me see my inventory really quickly. No, I cannot do anything, give you anything interesting to you. Yeah, I like it. Like, you know, this atmosphere, this calming music, and this campfire. Perfect place to speak privately with one another. And everyone has their own encampment type. Like, I think it was mine, even with the wine and a cup. And this is Liliana's with her, whatever it is, instrument and some food. Well, I cannot tell that much about the rest. Okay, that's where we go into the big world. Nice. What about you, doggy? Manji?
Oh, why, you little...
Why?
Your furry friend here took offence at me getting near his food. He snapped at me, look.
You know, that was the warning. He could have taken a hand off.
Don't you think I don't know it? Sometimes I forget that he's a war dog. That'll teach me.
Okay. So, yeah, Alistair, next time just be careful before you try to steal the food from the Manji. Even though I have no idea why in the world you would do such a thing. What about you, Liliana?
Yes.
I'd like to talk.
Well, here I am.
You know, this atmosphere just gives me this desire to listen about your private thing, like your vision.
I knew this would come up sooner or later. I don't know how to explain, but I had a dream. In it, there was an impenetrable darkness. It was so dense, so real. And there was a noise, a terrible, ungodly noise. I stood on a peak and watched as the darkness consumed everything. And when the storm swallowed the last of the sun's light, I fell, and the darkness drew me in.
You mean you dreamed of the Blight?
I suppose I did. That was what the darkness was, no? When I woke, I went to the Chantry's gardens, as I always do. But that day, the rosebush in the corner had flowered. everyone knew that bush was dead. It was grey and twisted and gnarled, the ugliest thing you ever saw. But there it was, a single beautiful rose. It was as though the Maker stretched out his hand to say, even in the midst of this darkness, there is hope and beauty. Have faith.
And this made you want to help me?
In my dream, I fell. Or maybe I jumped. I'd do anything to stop the Blight. I know that we can do it. There are so many good things in the Maker's world. How can I sit by while the Blight devours everything?
The Blight is the Maker's punishment. Will you defy him?
I don't know. He made this world. He could destroy it. But there is so much worth saving. You're such a pessimist.
Ah, my... Sheesh. I'm sorry, Leliana, but... I was simply trying to be, you know... Yeah, have some shinies.
Oh, how dear of you. Thank you so much.
Sheesh. Seriously. Stan. Let me see, what kind of warrior are you? Fatigue. Oh. Oh, he has just a simple clothing. +2, yeah, I remember that. But what would be your specification, if I can tell it this way? Yeah, that's what I thought. You would be two-handed. Oh yeah, and you are the master of this. Oh yeah, this is Leliana approves. So, no, Stan, I think you can have this blade of... It is a nice blade for now. And Alistair, yeah, definitely wanna give you this nice little sword. And you are actually the one I did not speak, the last one. So let's speak to you if you have anything else you have to add.
What do you need?
I'd like to ask you something.
Ask away.
About your past. You said that Arl Eamon raised you.
Did I say that? I meant that dogs raised me. Giant slobbering dogs from the Anderfels. A whole pack of them, in fact.
Well, that's not what I remember you telling Flameth.
Well, if you're going to go and pay attention to the facts, then fine. Let's see, how do I explain this? I'm a bastard, and before you make any smart comments, I mean the fatherless kind. My mother was a serving girl in Redcliffe Castle who died when I was very young. Our Lehman wasn't my father, but he took me in anyhow and put a roof over my head. He was good to me, and he didn't have to be. I respect the man, and I don't blame him anymore for sending me off to the Chantry once I was old enough.
Sheesh, I think I made Alistair pissed now. But why did he send you to Chantry?
Our Lehman eventually married a young woman from Orlais, which caused all sorts of problems between him and the king because it was so soon after the war. But he loved her. Anyhow, the new Arlessa resented the rumors which pegged me as his bastard. They weren't true, but of course they existed. The Arl didn't care, but she did. So off I was packed to the nearest monastery at age 10, just as well. The Arlessa made sure the castle wasn't a home to me by that point. She despised me.
You know, you were luckier more than most of the orphans. Most of them have quite a terrible fate, but you got quite lucky with yours.
I suppose you're right. I wasn't raised as the Arl's son, though, if you're picturing that. I slept in hay, out in the stables, not on silk sheets. I remember I had an amulet with Andraste's holy symbol on it. The only thing I had of my mother's. I was so furious at being sent away, I tore it off and threw it at the wall and it shattered. Stupid, stupid thing to do. The Arl came by the monastery a few times to see how I was, but I was stubborn. I hated it there, and blamed him for everything. And eventually, he just stopped coming.
But it was not your fault. You were young, and most of young person are quite... You know what I mean.
And raised by dogs. Or I may as well have been, the way I acted. But maybe all young bastards act like that. I don't know. All I know is that the Arl is a good man, and well loved by the people. He also was King Caelan's uncle, so he has a personal motivation to see Loghain pay for what he did. Anyway, that's really all there is to the story.
Whew, thankfully Alistair did not have a disapproval. Oh, and a little bit more of the Alistair's biography. That's nice to know. Really quickly. Okay. And you know, I think that would be just a perfect place to stop. We got known with people much better. We got bunch of their approves, and next time we will figure what we should do. But for now, see you next time, guys. Bye.